Okay, try to get my stuff set up here. Okay, well, some of you guys that have the 250s and 350s, you know that engine is right up underneath your butt in there. I mean, you just got a heated, vibrating machine for sure. So what I've done is I filled this space in here with a 10-inch fan right behind the air cooler and blows right on the head here. So this in here, I got a fuel separator in here. This is for an outboard motor. It's 4 micron. There's a separator at the bottom. It drains out through the tube if you need to drain any water out. So that's definitely a modification and definite improvement. This fan is, we put an 18 gauge piece of expanded metal on that you can get from Lowe's or Home Depot or wherever. And it's just on a relay, that's all. So where we're at here, we really don't need this 90% of the time, but that 10% of the time you overheat this thing and she just shut off and then you're stuck for a half hour waiting for it to cool. The coil is literally 1.5 inches away from the head on this thing, so I anticipate that with a little troubleshooting I'd find that that's what the problem is the coil is just bloody hot. And so the crankcase was hot enough the other day to spill some water on here at Hiss. So this is what we put on here. It's a whopping $55 at O'Reilly's, and it's turned out really good. It's a 3670. Here's your information if you need it. So you guys have seen the chainsaw mount that I've got. This locks in with a pin through the bar. That works out really great. So we can line, and then there's like Trex deck in here. So that works out great. And I'm big, I'm 6'3", and I can sit on this thing. That thing isn't even close to my knee. Put us a box on the front here. We added a high beam situation, and then we built this fair lead with chrome moly, and it's dandy. It works out great. We also put a locker in the front end, added all the heavy duty arm covers. Oh, what else have we done to this thing? Yeah, gotta have this, you know, where you don't get lost in the woods. Some of you know what I'm talking about. These parts where we're at here, we're not dealing with 1,200 acres. We're dealing with 126,000 acres in one place, and there's several of those connected, so you can get lost real quick or turned around sometimes when you're up above the fog line. I added this secondary light back here. She's just on a switch, so at nighttime if you're back here working or hooking up or whatever, you can get into that. We've added basically a lawnmower battery to this thing, which is, you know, quadrupled the capacity of what was already there. Oh, where do we go? Over here we got the old machete on a 95-pound magnet, so that holds up in there. You covered this with M8. I'm not sure if it's MW. Anyway, some kind of poly of some kind. We used Trex on the back deck here, which turned out real nice. So if you want to, this box just pops right off, and you could throw a seat up there. Your second rider's got his legs covered. Added a handle on the back rack. Done a lot to this thing. I mean, really have done a lot. Still having some issues with the clutch springs. I can't find springs strong enough to keep this thing engaged solid at 5th gear. It still wants to spin loose on the clutch, and it's brand new stuff in there. Brand new centrifugal and shifting clutches as well. So with some of the crazy simple things that just don't take very much effort at all, you know, you put a grease fitting in here so we can grease this spot. I did that to a lot of different places on this bike. Same way within the steering column on the inside. I put a grease fitting in there now so we can grease that lower bushing in there. The tie rod ends and the ball joints, I still haven't figured that one out. I mean, it's July. They started running this thing real hard probably March, and this is the 3rd set that I just put in, and it just tears the Teflon up on the inside. There's some other ones that are out there, but you know, there's no middle ground. You're either, you know, inexpensive $15, $20 ball joints and tie rod ends, or they're $250 a piece. And or so you're talking about the price of this bike just in the upper and lower ball joints and tie rod ends. I mean, it makes this bike obsolete completely because you've cost exceeded the machine. So anyway, same with these seats. You know, I've been looking for a second machine. Everything out here on the West Coast I see that is for sale. $4,000 for a machine with a ripped up seat. That seat cover right there cost me about 35 bucks. Get yourself some stainless steel staples at your local Home Depot or whatever, or your box store, and staple it on there and you're done. Simple. It's kind of amazing that people want top dollar for stuff that just hasn't been taken care of. So anyway, I think we're pretty much done with this machine. I'm going to do some more homework on the tie rod ends and ball joints. I might upgrade completely and take the column plate and expand it and just put something from a Silverado in there or something. I don't know. I got to do something. That's just crap. I mean, instantly you get playing it after the first trip. I wish you guys could, I wish some folks would come out here and go ride with us. I mean, everybody that I've taken out here recently is like, oh, we're going to go up someplace and run around with some skidder trails. This last Saturday, we did 22 miles. And on my phone, on the trek on that thing, we never got over 6 miles an hour. And I mean, the shocks were hot. I mean, it's just complete rough terrain. And going over 40-inch cedar logs laying on the ground with brush and junk. Yeah. The video doesn't even do it justice. We tried to get the GoPro thing going this year too, and a drone and some things like that. It just doesn't do it any justice unless you're actually on a machine seeing it. And some of these grades that we're on, there's really not a way to calculate it. I tried with the phone a little bit. There's an app for that, believe it or not. And, you know, 60%, and then it, you know, rotates your screen. So anyway, they have some steep hills. I mean, they're steep. And yeah, two-wheel drive just will not go out here, even on dry ground like it is now. The first spit of rain that we have, I'll have chains on this thing. So anyhow, I'm gonna leave that be. And if we do anything more modifications on this, we should be good to go. The bracket on this, I know somebody's gonna ask about this. The bracket on this thing is basically just, if you see down there where that bolt is, that bolt goes right into the frame where the riser comes up to the oil cooler. There's actually a hole in that already on both sides, and it comes up. So it comes up and then makes kind of a, I don't know, 40, 45 degree angle at the top, and then bolts right into where the seat latch is. There's two holes up there for cables or whatever on other models to go through. And that worked out great. Eventually I find a thermostat method by which to use this. I couldn't find anything that didn't have a remote probe. Everything has that hollow gas tube going out to it. The vibration would just tear that up. Anyway, enjoy.